Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the physical properties of phenols. Before starting this lecture, just we revise the content of the previous lecture. Right? In previous lecture, we have seen about the synthesis of phenol, different methods for preparation or synthesis of phenol. It includes Dawes process, then from cumin, right? These two process, Dawes process and synthesis from cumin are used in large scale synthesis or industrial synthesis of the phenol, right? Other methods are from diazonium salts, then from alkali fusion of the sulfonates, that is from the sodium salt of aromatic sulfonic acid, then by using Grignard reagents, then from phenolic acids, and by using Raschig's process. Right? So different 7 methods for the preparation of phenol already we have seen. Right? Now next topic in chapter phenol is physical properties of phenols. Right? Properties of phenols can be studied in two categories. One is physical properties and second one is chemical properties, right? So now we are going to study different properties of phenols, right? Physical properties and chemical properties. So you should know about the physical properties generally, which type of properties are included into the physical property. So for example, melting point, boiling point, then solubility, right? So as well as physical state, that is organoleptic properties, for example color, odor, taste, physical state, liquid form or solid form, right? So these all terms are considered into the physical properties of the compound, right? Chemical properties include the ability of that special chemical compound, organic compound, which have ability to react with the different chemical reagents, right? So it is nothing but the different chemical reactions of the compound, right? So here we are studying about the phenols. So first we study about the physical properties of the phenol, right? So first one is the physical state of the phenol, right? First is physical state of phenol, right? So phenols are generally colorless liquids or solid, right? Physical state first, it may be solid or liquid form according to atmospheric temperature, right? Then color, it is colorless, right? Then odor, produces odor like phenolic odor, just known as the phenolic odor, right? Odor of the phenol known as the phenolic odor, or odor like naphthol ball, right? Then it turns into pink color, right? Generally it is colorless but turn to pink colored compound. Why? When it exposed to air or light, right? Because phenol is hygroscopic in nature, right? So when it comes in contact with atmospheric air or light or moisture, it gets degraded and converted into pink colored compound, right? Generally phenols are colorless, but when it comes in contact with air or light, it turns into pink colored compound because it is hygroscopic in nature, right? So it is the information about the physical state of the phenol. Now next one is the boiling point. Next property of phenol is boiling point. Right? So first you should know about the boiling point. What is boiling point? Right? Boiling point is nothing but the temperature at which liquid start to boil. Right? Here we see that phenols are solid or liquids. Generally at room temperature or above 25 degrees Celsius, phenols converted into liquid form or get liquefied. So here we study the boiling point of the phenol, right? So boiling point is nothing but the temperature at which liquid start to boil, or sometimes there is a range of the boiling point or melting point, right? So boiling point range is nothing but the temperature range within which that liquid compound get boils, right? So it is boiling point. Now see the boiling point of phenol and compare the boiling point of phenol with its corresponding hydrocarbons and alkyl halide, right? So one sentence is given that phenols have high boiling point than those of corresponding hydrocarbons and aryl halides. Right? Phenols have high boiling point than those of corresponding hydrocarbons and aryl halides. Now, when we compare the boiling points or melting points of different chemical compounds, keep in mind that is affected by the intermolecular or intramolecular forces produced between or within the molecule, right? So here one statement is given that phenols have high boiling point than those of corresponding hydrocarbons and aryl halides, right? So how this happen? So first see the basic concept about the effect of forces onto the boiling point as well as melting point, right? So see, when we are considering the boiling point or melting point of chemical compounds, right, that is affected by intermolecular or intramolecular forces, right? Now there are different effects of intramolecular and intermolecular forces on the boiling point and melting point. Especially here we consider the intermolecular forces. If intermolecular forces of the compound increases, right, intermolecular forces of the compound or molecules increases, that will lead to increase in boiling point or melting point, right? Why? Because intermolecular forces exist between the two molecules of the compound, right? Intermolecular forces, that means forces exerted between the two molecules, and intermolecular forces, that means forces produces within the molecule, right, or groups or atom within the molecule, right? So here intermolecular forces increase, that means forces between the two molecule increases, right? So two molecules of that compound rigidly bind with each other, right? Strongly bind with each other as compared to free molecules, right? So when see the boiling point of the free molecule and bound molecule, right? Boiling point of free molecule and bound molecules by intermolecular forces, right? So free molecules have the less boiling point because it is easily boiled, right, at low temperature, right? They are free, they are not need to give the extra energy in the form of temperature or heat, right? In case of bound molecules, right, when intermolecular forces existing between two molecules, right, then there is a some strong connection between two molecules, right? So during boiling, what happen? The molecules get releases, right, get free. Two molecules bound with intermolecular forces, that force get broken down by the heat provided to the compound, right? See, so here there is a need of high heat or temperature given to the bound molecule to boil the compound, right? So keep in mind that intermolecular forces जो है वो कंपाउंड के बॉइलिंग पॉइंट और मेल्टिंग पॉइंट को अफेक्ट करते हैं. हाउ? इफ इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्सेस जो है वो एग्जिस्ट नहीं करते दो मॉलिक्यूल के बीच में, राइट? आप कोई भी कंपाउंड लेते हो तो उसमें लॉट्स ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं वो कंपाउंड के. फॉर एग्जांपल फिनोल्स लेते हैं तो जो हमारे पास कंटेनर में फिनोल है उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा मॉलिक्यूल्स प्रेजेंट होंगे, राइट? सो इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्सेस क्या होती है? जो दो फिनोल के मॉलिक्यूल है जो हमारे पास कंटेनर में फिनोल प्रेजेंट है, राइट, उसमें जो उसमें से दो मॉलिक्यूल जो फिनोल के है उसके बीच में क्या रहेगा? एक फोर्स जनरेट होगा. इट मे बी हाइड्रोजन बॉन्ड, वैन डर वाल्स फोर्सेस, आयोनिक फोर्सेस, दैट मीन्स वन टाइप ऑफ बॉन्डिंग, राइट? इट इंक्लूड द generally weak forces like hydrogen bonding, van der Waals bonding, ionic forces, electrostatic forces, right? You already studied about that type of forces, right? You know about that, what is hydrogen bond, what is van der Waals force, etc., right? So by using that type of forces molecule get bound to each other, right? So क्या होगा? if free molecules, पहले तो वो समझ लीजिए कि बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है उसमें हम क्या देखते हैं? बॉइलिंग ऑफ द कंपाउंड, राइट? सो बॉइलिंग स्टार्ट कब होता है? तो जब वो मॉलिक्यूल्स लिक्विड फॉर्म में है वो ज़्यादा सेपरेटेड होगा, राइट? देयर आर थ्री स्टेट ऑफ द कंपाउंड: सॉलिड, लिक्विड एंड gases, right? Three stages of the states of the compound, right? We know that, right? सॉलिड कंपाउंड्स में क्या होता है? वो कॉम्पैक्ट फॉर्म में होता है. दैट मीन्स कि जो मॉलिक्यूल है वो एक दूसरे के साथ एकदम रिजिडली कॉम्पैक्टली बाउंड होता है. दैट मीन्स उनके बीच में जो डिस्टेंसेस है मॉलिक्यूल के बीच में वो बहुत कम होता है, राइट? व्हेन लिक्विड मॉलिक्यूल्स हैव द मोर स्पेसेस एज कंपेयर्ड टू सॉलिड, राइट? जो लिक्विड के मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं वो थोड़ा लूजली बाउंड होते हैं, राइट, एज कंपेयर टू दिस सॉलिड कंपाउंड्स, राइट? सॉलिड मॉलिक्यूल्स की कंपैरिजन करें लिक्विड के साथ तो लिक्विड कंपाउंड है उसके मॉलिक्यूल है थोड़े लूजली बाउंड होते हैं. दैट मीन्स एक दूसरे के बीच में स्पेसेस रहती है. वाइल गैसियस जो कंपाउंड है वो वेरी लूजली और रैंडमली प्रेजेंट होते हैं, राइट? दैट मीन्स, राइट? सो जब हम सॉलिड का मेल्टिंग पॉइंट देखते हैं तो क्या होता है? सॉलिड मेल्ट होना जो स्टार्ट करते हैं उस टेम्परेचर पॉइंट को हम क्या कहते हैं? उसका मेल्टिंग पॉइंट, राइट? सो जब हम हीट प्रोवाइड करते हैं मेल्ट करने के लिए तब ए रिजिडली बाउंड और कॉम्पैक्ट बाउंड जो मॉलिक्यूल है सॉलिड के वो उनके बीच का जो फोर्स है, इंटरेक्शन है, वो क्या होगा, ब्रेक होगा एंड कंपाउंड है, कंपाउंड के अंदर रहे मॉलिक्यूल है वो क्या हो गए, लूज हो गए थोड़ा, राइट, एंड लिक्विड फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हो गए, राइट. व्हेन so to convert the solid into the liquid there is requirement of the energy in the form of heat. यहाँ पे हम एनर्जी है वो किस फॉर्म में यूज करते हैं, हीट अप सप्लाई करते हैं, राइट, टेम्परेचर बढ़ाते हैं, इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ हीट, राइट. सो देर इज रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ एनर्जी, राइट. सो जो कॉम्पैक्ट बाउंड मॉलिक्यूल्स है वो क्या हो गए, लूजली बाउंड हो गए और लिक्विड फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हो गए. नाउ व्हेन हम बॉइलिंग पॉइंट देखते हैं लिक्विड का, तो बॉयल होना कब स्टार्ट होंगे, तो जो लिक्विड फॉर्म में जो मॉलिक्यूल प्रेजेंट है उसके बीच का जो इंटरेक्शन है वो अगेन ब्रेक होगा और वो गैसियस फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट होगा, राइट. तब वो जो पॉइंट रहेगा उसको हम कहते हैं उसका बॉइलिंग पॉइंट, राइट. तो अगेन to break down the intermolecular forces of the liquid molecule there is a requirement of the energy, right. So अब सॉलिड को लिक्विड में या लिक्विड को गैस में, उस सॉलिड का मेल्टिंग पॉइंट देखते हैं या लिक्विड का बॉइलिंग पॉइंट, उसमें हम क्या करते हैं, एनर्जी है वो हीट के फॉर्म में अप्लाई करते हैं, राइट, हीट दे देते हैं हम उसको, राइट. सो नाउ सी फ्री मॉलिक्यूल्स है वो जल्दी बॉईल होना क्यों स्टार्ट होते हैं, बिकॉज उनके बीच जो इंटरेक्शन है वेरी वीक है या नहीं है, राइट, निग्लिजिबल इंटरेक्शन है बिटवीन द मॉलिक्यूल्स, राइट. दैट्स वाई उसको ब्रेक करने के लिए हम जो एनर्जी देते हैं, हीट देते हैं, वो बहुत कम रिक्वायर्ड होती है. दैट्स वाई उसका जो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है वो लेस है, राइट. लो हीट पे और लो टेम्परेचर पे वो बॉईल होना स्टार्ट हो जाते हैं, दैट्स वाई उसका बॉइलिंग पॉइंट लो है, राइट. वाइल बाउंड मॉलिक्यूल्स जो है उसमें क्या होता है, देयर इज अ सम फोर्सेस और इंटरेक्शन बिटवीन द मॉलिक्यूल्स, राइट. सो हम जब उसको बॉईल करना चाहते हैं और उसका बॉइलिंग पॉइंट मेजर करना चाहते हैं तब हमको जो हीट देनी पड़ती है वो ज़्यादा अमाउंट में देनी पड़ती है, राइट. सो जैसे हीट हम बढ़ाएंगे तो वो टेम्परेचर है वो इंक्रीज होगा, राइट. सो उसका जो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है, रिक्वायर्ड टेम्परेचर है टू बॉईल द कंपाउंड वो भी इंक्रीज होगा, राइट. दैट्स वाई फ्री मॉलिक्यूल्स है उसका बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है वो लेस होगा, और जो बाउंड मॉलिक्यूल्स दैट मीन्स जिसमें सम इंटर मॉलिक्यूलर फोर्सेस जनरेट होते हैं उसमें बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है वो ज़्यादा रहेगा. सेम फॉर द मेल्टिंग पॉइंट, राइट, सेम फॉर द मेल्टिंग पॉइंट, राइट. व्हेन जो सॉलिड कंपाउंड है अगर दो के आप कंपैरिजन करते हैं कि इसका एक का ज़्यादा मेल्टिंग पॉइंट है एक दूसरे का कम है, राइट. सो जो जिसका ज़्यादा मेल्टिंग पॉइंट है उसमें क्या रहेगा, इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्सेस से वो ज़्यादा जनरेट होता होगा, राइट. ज़्यादा इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्सेस होगा तो क्या होगा कि उसको हमें ब्रेक करने के लिए एनर्जी है वो ज़्यादा देनी पड़ेगी, राइट. दैट मीन्स हीट है वो हमें ज़्यादा देनी पड़ेगी. दैट्स वाई क्या होगा कि टेम्परेचर है वो इंक्रीज होगा तो अल्टीमेटली मेल्टिंग पॉइंट है वो इंक्रीज होता होगा, राइट. मेल्टिंग पॉइंट इंक्रीज होगा, राइट. सो हियर गिवन कमेंट इज दैट phenols have high boiling point than those of corresponding hydrocarbons and aryl halides, right. It can be asked in the form of comment in your examination, right. Many times this type of comment have been asked, right. So phenols have high boiling point than those of corresponding hydrocarbons and aryl halide. For example, corresponding means the in terms of molecular weight, similar molecular weight, not the same but similar molecular weight. If we compare phenol with toluene, right. See, when we compare phenol with toluene, right. See, it has the similar structure and molecular weight of phenol is 94 and molecular weight of the toluene 92, right? Almost similar molecular weight, but there is a difference in boiling point, right? Boiling point of phenol is 455 Kelvin temperature, while boiling point of the toluene is 284 Kelvin only, right? So it is much higher than this one, right? But why this type of change is generated in boiling point, right? As we discussed that because of generation of intermolecular forces, right? Here OH bond is present in the phenol, right? So two molecules of phenol can bind with each other by formation of the hydrogen bond, intermolecular hydrogen bond. Intermolecular hydrogen bond, that means formation of the hydrogen bond between two molecules of phenol, right? Here oxygen of one phenol atom is attached with the hydrogen of the other phenol atom by hydrogen bond, right? So this type of intermolecular hydrogen bonding occurs, right? In case of toluene, this type of or any type of intermolecular hydrogen bonding does not generate, right? In toluene, they just attracted by the van der Waals forces, right? In toluene molecule, it is lipophilic in nature. There is no any polar group is present. That's why it produces the van der Waals forces, or two molecule of toluene is attached with or attracted by the van der Waals forces. While in phenol, hydrogen bond is generated, right? Intermolecular hydrogen bond is generated between two molecules, right? And as we know that hydrogen bond is more strong as compared to van der Waals forces, right? Hydrogen bonds is more strong as compared to van der Waals forces. That's why there is a strong connection between two molecule of phenol as compared to the toluene, right? So it requires the more energy to break down, right? It requires the more energy as compared to this one to break down this intermolecular hydrogen bond, right? More energy in the form of heat, more heat is required, and that's why increases the boiling point as compared to toluene, right? In toluene, there is a van der Waals forces, it is a weaker than hydrogen bonding, that's why it requires the less energy and less heat, and that's phenol, right? Now next one is solubility. Solubility of the phenol. Same concept can be applied for the solubility, right? See, phenol itself and mono and di and tri phenol, that is monohydric phenol, then other dihydric and trihydric phenols are somewhat soluble in water, right? They are soluble in water molecules, right? In water. Why? Because of the formation of hydrogen bond. Why? Because of formation of hydrogen bond, right? So what happened? See, molecule of phenol OH form the hydrogen bond with water molecule, right? Like this. Two molecule of phenol can be attached with the water molecule by hydrogen bonding, right? So it is the reason for the solubility of the phenol into the water, right? But somewhat water, right? Somewhat soluble, right? Not the highly soluble. Why? Because of the a large size of the phenyl group, right? Because of the large phenyl group, extent of the hydrogen bond formation is very small, right? Extent of this hydrogen bond formation is very small due to the large size of this phenyl ring, right? That's why somewhat soluble in the water, right? Then most other phenols, right, except monodi and trihydric phenols, other phenols in which hydroxyl group plus other groups are present on the aromatic ring, right? So when this type of phenols are present, they are practically insoluble in water because lipophilicity of the compound will increase. That's why solubility in water will decrease, right? Another comment that is discussed, should be discussed, that orthonitrophenol has much lower boiling point and solubility than its meta and para isomer. It means nitrophenol has much lower boiling point and solubility than meta nitrophenol and para nitrophenol. First, see the structure of all nitrophenol. It have the NO2 OH, nitro and OH group present to ortho to each other, present at 1,2 position to each other. Here in meta cases 1,3 and in para both group are para to each other, right? So this one is ortho isomer, meta isomer, and this one is para isomer. Now this compound, this molecule has the much lower boiling point and lower solubility, right? Why? Because in orthonitrophenol formation of intramolecular hydrogen bond, right? Where in both these cases formation of intermolecular hydrogen bond, right? Now intramolecular hydrogen bond, that means formation of hydrogen bond between two atom or group within one molecule, right? Here see in nitrophenol there is a nearness of the nitro group, and this one is nitro group and hydroxyl group, right? Nearness of this OH group and NO2 group, right? That's why easily it can form the hydrogen bond, right? Hydrogen of the hydroxyl group bind with this oxygen of nitro group by hydrogen bond, right? So what happened? There is a no availability of the hydrogen or this group to bind with another molecule of the orthonitrophenol, right? These two groups are connected to each other by hydrogen bond. That's why they are not free to bind with another molecule, right? So there is a no intermolecular forces in orthonitrophenol, right? That's why there is no need to apply more energy to break the intermolecular forces, right? इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्सेस उसमें जनरेट नहीं होते हैं, इसलिए इसमें ज़्यादा एनर्जी और हीट अप्लाई करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. दैट्स वाई इट हैज़ द लो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट, राइट? दैट्स वाई इट हैज़ द लो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट, राइट? एंड सेम इन सॉल्युबिलिटी बिकॉज दिस ग्रुप्स आर नॉट फ्री टू बाइंड विद द वाटर, राइट? वाटर मॉलिक्यूल के साथ बाइंड होने के लिए एक ग्रुप से वो फ्री नहीं है, राइट? दैट्स वाई ये वाटर मॉलिक्यूल के साथ इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्सेस जनरेट नहीं करेंगे. दैट्स वाई उसकी सॉल्युबिलिटी वाटर में है वो भी लो रहेगी, राइट? एट कंपेयर टू दिस वन, राइट? वाइल दिस वन metanitrophenol and paranitrophenol, right, form the hydrogen bond between two molecules, right. In nitrobenzene, this hydrogen bind with the another molecule of nitrobenzene to this oxygen of nitro group, and likewise this para nitrophenol can bind with another molecule by this hydrogen bonding. See another molecule of this para-nitrophenol, right? So here this hydrogen and this oxygen can form the hydrogen bond. Here this oxygen and this hydrogen form the hydrogen bond, right? So in these two compounds isomer, formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, it will lead to the increases the required energy to break these forces, intermolecular forces, right. That's why increases the heat requirement and increases the boiling point, right. So keep in mind the concept of intermolecular and intramolecular forces that are generated within or between the molecules of organic compounds or with the other solvents, right. For example, nitrophenol and water, right. It also affects the solubility of the compound with the in that specific solvents, right. Thank you.